think we're live. Hello, everybody. If you're joining in, I'll wait a second or two for people to pop in. We need music. Well, cool. That's how we get started. Hi, everybody. Oh, nope. There we go. Finally. Hi. Hello, everyone. Welcome. If you don't know me, I'm Liz. I'm a community advocate in our community, and I'll be hosting this along with Alex, who is a principal product marketing manager. That's harder to say than I thought it was going to be. We'll also be joined later by product manager Dan, who's going to show us some AI features, and we'll get started soon, but just some housekeeping things. If you've joined us, you should probably see a chat at the bottom and a Q&A. In the chat, say hello, tell us where you are, what you're drinking. I have my coffee next to me. I don't know what you have, Alex, but that's my go-to.
PET is what I'm working with here.
Yes, it's a coffee kind of day. If you have questions throughout, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. We're joined with Grace and James from the community, and they will try to answer your questions throughout. If not, I will try to get to them too. And then we will have 15 minutes for a Q&A at the end. So if you have a burning question and you want to hear us answer it live, feel free to wait till the end too. Just so you also know, we will have this recorded, and anything that we don't answer during the webinar, we will post and send via email later, and also in our community. So in case you miss part of this, you have to leave, whatever, you will have a copy of all this later. And then for those of you watching via LinkedIn, feel free to share comments, questions, anything else as well. We know you're out there, so drop in your questions. And then if you have any issues throughout this webinar, whether that's with seeing something, audio, etc., feel free to drop it in the chat. Oh, wow, we have people everywhere. I'm looking at the chat right now. I'm like, Idaho, London. Yes, another coffee drinker. I love it. I'm here for the coffee. Des and his igloo. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of warm in Canada right now, so I don't know what Des is talking about. Hopefully his igloo isn't melting. But with that, I say we get started. So yay to making something great. Today we'll walk you through creating a form that will help you collect leads in a very short amount of time. So just a quick overview of what we're talking about today. In case you're not sure how you ended up here or what Typeform is, we'll just give you a little brief reminder of Typeform. We'll go through some new features. We will walk you through designing a lead gen quiz, and then we'll show a demo of it. We'll talk a little bit about what AI stuff we have going on, and then we'll have Q&A at the end for any questions, fun facts, whatever you've got. So now I'm going to hand it over to Alex to share a little bit about what Typeform is.
Thank you, Liz. So what is Typeform? So if you're new to Typeform, we're the only form builder designed for both creators and respondents. We give forms a better look and feel so that our customers can get more out of them. Historically, I don't think forms have been the greatest, but businesses need them, and they're basically a part of our everyday lives at this point, whether we like it or not. So that's why we're designing a form that allows brands to give as much to people as they're trying to get. I mean, the bottom line is you shouldn't ask something of someone before giving something to them. That's our philosophy. So I'm here to share some new exciting features with you all today. So a few things that are new. First up, some AI features that are very exciting. So the ability to optimize your questions with AI is a big one. What we're trying to enable people to do here is to write more clear and concise questions and drive up your completion rate. And so this also offers respondents a better experience, user experience, because it's clear of what's being asked of them, and they're more likely to complete your form. If you haven't tried this out yet, you definitely should. It's very cool. Coming soon, which we'll talk a little bit more about later, will be the ability to build your form with AI, actually, based on some of your inputs. And you can publish straight from there or use that as a solid foundation to build off of. Brand kits is a great one, another thing that you should be using if you're not. So this allows you to stay on brand at scale, essentially. So you're storing all of your critical brand assets in one easily accessible place. And if you're actually on an enterprise account, you can enforce the use of brand kits to make sure that everyone at the organization is staying on brand when they're publishing forms. Conditional follow-ups, one of my favorites, not to pick favorites, but this is kind of like a mini nurture in a box here in Typeform. So you can segment and personalize follow-ups to folks without ever leaving Typeform. In the example that we'll see here soon with our e-commerce eyewear shop, an example would be basically if someone selects, snow goggles, for example, you can follow up with relevant items for them to purchase or suggestions on things that might be good for them while skiing. Conversely, if they select sunglasses, you can follow up with sunglass information. Very basic example, but essentially you can nurture straight through Typeform based on people's responses to your form. You can set up multiple responses. Very cool. A couple new question blocks. So what we've done here with both the contact block and the address block is combine vital information for both of these question types into one screen. Again, what we're trying to do here is increase completion rates by delivering a smoother respondent experience. So it's an easier interaction for the respondent. And in theory, we're driving up completion rates by delivering up that better experience. If you are using some old fields on your forms, update them to the new blocks. They're really good. Some of our integrations got some big updates. So MailChimp, Salesforce, and Slack. If you're using any of these tools and you are not using these integrations, I highly suggest you do so. They are awesome. I use all three of them. Some new collaboration tools that we pushed out. Workspace discovery allows you to see every workspace at your organization. So if you click create a workspace, you're now able to view every single workspace at the organization and request to join them, as you can see here on the right, straight through that dialog. What will happen then is the owner of that workspace will be notified. And as soon as you're approved, you can get in there and start collaborating. We're trying to basically break down silos between workspaces here at organizations using Typeform so that people have more insight and maybe can be inspired about what their coworkers are doing. View-only seats. This is an enterprise feature. It's an organization-wide view-only seat, which can also be provisioned through SSO, actually. Accessibility checker is another awesome one. So this is pretty straightforward. It allows you to ensure that you're actually building accessibility best practices into your forms so that everyone can access and actually complete them. And with that, I'm going to pass it back over to Liz for some examples of what our customers are doing with Typeforms. If you have any questions, let me know.
So we thought we'd show you a few examples of what people are already doing and have success with before we show you how to build an example. The first one of these is Beard Brand. Again, not to pick favorites, but one of my favorite ones. The way that they have their form set up is they have this embedded on their website, and they've so far collected about 300,000 leads with this. When you go through the form, there we go. It'll ask you many questions. You can find out what your beard is. I've done it a few times out of curiosity, like if I could grow a beard. At the end of it, as you answer all these questions, they'll recommend products that would work for your beard type. And then they've also integrated this with their CRM systems. They can send emails and send custom emails related to the products that you would have gotten in this form. This is pretty similar to the one that we're going to show you how to build. And again, I find it kind of fun, even if I don't have a beard. The image gets me every time. And you can see a little bit of what happens here after they give you what your beard is. Some of their products. And then the next one is Colgate. So kind of similar, they ask a couple of different questions on their form. This is also on their website to figure out, what your OQ is. I almost said QO, I cannot talk. At the end of it, it signs you up for their email list, and then they send emails accordingly. And they have a really good cultured email list. Clearly, my OQ is not very high here. I might need to take this again. Pay attention to their emails. And then it has that subscribe at the end. The last one is Relax. So they have a form that is also on their website, shows what kind of remote worker you are. as you go through the form, they have some fun questions as well. And at the end, they ask for that email right before giving results. Once you get the results, they send you an email with a whole ebook on remote working. I guess it's e-working. So that way they gave you something while also adding you to their email list. So just a few fun examples of what you can do, whether you have a product business, a service business, whether you sell toothpaste, whatever it might be. There's a bunch of different creative options that I like. Well, at least I personally like. And now we're going to get into the demo. Just so everybody knows, I did record this in advance, but the reason I did that is so during this, I can answer your questions because I'm sure they will happen throughout that video, and I am not good at multitasking. I also dropped an Easter egg in this video. If you can see it, props to you. I give you credit. We know that a lot of you joining run your own companies, run your own marketing, run your own ad agencies, whatever it might be. So to show you the solution, the great Alex and Nico created a fake company called Squints. So we're going to take a look at how this form works live and in action so you get an idea of how you can set this up for your own company. So in our lead gen process, our goal is to get new customers to either buy our frames or sign up for our mailing list. And to do that, we've created an ad that we'll share on Twitter to encourage them to find their frame and maybe win a trip to Barcelona in the process. Now, you could do this on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Google Ads, whatever it might be. We just suggest that when you're setting up these ads to direct people to Typeform, that you give them something in order to gain something. So in this case, we're giving them the option to win a trip to Barcelona in order to gain either their purchase or their information or just more general product awareness. So what happens when we click on this ad is we're taken to our fancy Shopify store. Now, if you have an e-commerce business, but you don't run it on Shopify, the Typeform can be embedded anywhere. So you could do this on WooCommerce, Magento, Big e-commerce, BigCommerce. Sorry, I always forget the name of that one. Wherever you have it, if you have a service-based business, you either might embed this on your website or a landing page builder, such as like Unbounce, Lead Pages, whatever it might be. The big recommendation here is to just make sure that this form is on its own page so it directly tells the clientele, consumer, whatever you're targeting to fill this out and doesn't distract them with other information. So now the fun part, filling out the form. Let's find my frame. You'll notice on the welcome screen here, it shows that it takes 3 minutes. Definitely suggest turning this on so people have the expectation of how much time they're going to be spending. Let's say I like feminine styles. I think someone told me once I have a round face. You'll notice as I'm filling this out that all of our images in the background have sunglasses, squints in the back. If you do have a product-based business, I would definitely recommend trying to inject as much product imagery as you can throughout this form in a subtle way, just to give a feel for what they might be wearing. Now, I just want sunglasses. I like, let's do pink. That seems very stereotypical. Now, what colors? Neutrals. I am not a colorful person, even though I like pink. As I'm filling out this form, you'll also notice there's a variety in the different types of questions that I'm filling out. As you're creating your form, instead of maybe only using like short text or multiple choice, we definitely suggest switching up the question type just so the form doesn't seem so monotonous as they're going along. I'm going to say that style is my top choice, brand and economy. Yes, let's say I have a lot of money to spend on these. Okay, now I'm going to type in United States. That's where I am currently. Something I also really like about this form and why we kind of preach the one question at a time is because as I'm filling this out, I don't feel like burdened with the amount of questions. I'm like, I can think about like what style I want, what colors I want one at a time. And we also have done the research that shows that forms that do show one question at a time have a higher response rate. Let's type in my name. Oops. You'll notice we're using the contact question. So we're getting all of that contact information here. Hello. typeform.com. Now, if we were going to automatically send this something, we could add in the address block, which, similar to the contact question, would ask them for their address information all in that question. If you are adding people to a mailing list, the legal question here is like, I can't preach enough. You should add this because that way it will lower your amount of spam remarks in your email service system. This is saying that they explicitly agreed to receive emails from you, that they know that they will get emails. So we're going to hit accept. And woo, here's the products that would look good on me. You'll notice here we have two different options. One is taking me to the product page and one is ready to check out. Depending on your product or service, it might be helpful to have both of these options. And the reason for that is it gives the respondent an option to either experience your brand a bit more, look at your products and your services, or maybe they're just like, yeah, this looks good, I'm ready to check out. But it doesn't necessarily lean them one way or the other. The way that we did this was with the multiple choice question and then logic jump, which we'll show later. So if we go, take me to the product page, let's see. Actually, let me show you this one. I think this is cooler. I'm ready to check out, submit. We're going to go claim my frame and wait for it. This is my favorite part. I'm already ready to check out. So you can see here all of the products have been added to my cart. We do have an article on how to do this for Shopify. If you are using another service provider such as WooCommerce, let us know. We can see if we can try to fix something up here. Though I really, really like this because it lowers the time that it takes me to go find those products, add it straight to my cart. So if you are really pushing for sales, this is a great option. The other option would take me straight to the product page so I can just kind of look about the product a bit more. We'll go into detail next on how to actually build this form, but I want to bring in Des to share a little bit more about kind of the strategy that we use building this form and strategies that might also help you.
Okay, let's be really frank here. We don't build the quiz in the same order that people take it. Let's be honest. Okay. The user has a take the quiz flow that goes from welcome through questions to results. Okay. And based on the results, we want to get them to an offer at our end. Okay. Now, how do we create the quiz in terms of a flow? What is the order in which we do this? Well, we typically start by defining what the results are. Where do we want them to end up? Then based on that, we're going to go back and figure out what welcome or entry point will get them hooked into taking our quiz, okay, go through the questions so that we end them up at the results. Okay, so that's the flow when we're building. Start with results, go to welcome, then do questions. Okay, now when we start with the offer, okay, or the results from the quiz, what are we offering to them? Our offer is the product or service we want to sell once they've taken the quiz. We can make that offer at any point. They can get it after they get their quiz results. We can do it a storefront, a sales page, a webinar, or booking an appointment. But it's the last step of the quiz, even though we build it first. Okay, let's try to make certain we keep that in mind. There's three things we need to know about our offer before we start. Who are we selling to? What's our market? What are you selling? What's the product? How much are you selling it for? What's the price point? These things will help us determine the outcome results buckets and to go through into the offer. Now, again, on an offer side, what we want to do is to offer them something. What is our offer? We want them to join a list, download an ebook, buy a product, attend a webinar, book an appointment. You can have a variety of different endings at this point. However, the outcomes for the user are going to be 3 to 5 max. It could be a Typeform ending. It could be an external page. Okay. In this particular case for Squints, what we have is that we have an ending here, a result that says, okay, where should you go? If you're ready to buy, you can go to checkout. Outcome 1. If you're not ready to buy, you can go to the product page. Outcome 2. Okay, we're in our 3 to 5 max. Okay, we can also go through and look at if they're ready to buy. We've got an offer for them. They're going to buy the product. Okay, so we've got our back end done and designed and laid out. Now we're going to look at the welcome part, and we're going to talk about the hook. What gets people to go through from our welcome page, ad, or email to go through and actually take the quiz? That's what the hook is. In this particular case, we've got this Find Your Frame quiz. And what's the hook? Okay, we could not only find your frame, but you could win a trip to Barcelona. Okay, so if this is our welcome and we've got our hook, then the next part is how do we get from that entry point to the result so that we can get people to where we want them to be? We need to define the questions. Okay, and the questions are really this bridge that we have to get them to cross. In a quiz like this, it's a 3 to 7 question quiz normal. Okay, there are 3 different question types, and we'll get to those in just a minute. And then we want to have a lead capture piece. At a minimum, it's an email address that's in there as a question at that point. Okay, now let's talk about the questions. First question, always grease the wheels. Make it very easy for them to answer it, get a micro commitment, and have them move forward in the quiz. Okay, very simple one here. Okay, now the next part that we're looking at is what type of eyewear do you need? That's a diagnosis question. Okay, it helps us determine the outcome or the result bucket, sunglasses, outdoor wear, or prescription that they're going to go through and get to. Okay, now not all your quiz questions have to be diagnosis, but a number of them can help you really refine your buckets, okay, or where they're going to go. The third type of questions are really non-diagnosis questions. We don't use them to put people into buckets, but we're looking for more information, a demographic information, age group, what country. Can we use these other non-diagnosis questions to create demand, okay, for a product? We'll send a prize to the address you provided. Cool, okay, creating some demand for what we've got. Future demand, okay, what country am I in? I'm in Canada, okay, that may be a way to help trigger where they should open up their next sort of sales push, okay, non-diagnosis, giving them information. And then the last type of question that we really want to go through, as we say, is the lead capture. So typically the last question, we have one lead capture question per outcome bucket, okay, in a case like this, okay, maybe an email address at a minimum in order to get the information, okay, that's what we want to go through and do. Now, those are the types of questions and what we go through, but how do you go through and develop those questions and what's the order? Okay, so there are some best practices. Like in Typeform, we want one question per screen. Okay, multiple choice answers make it very easy from a logic perspective to allow us to go and bucket people. Okay, use a mix of image and text-based questions and answer options to get people engaged and keep them through, and think of it as a conversation. Okay, now, how do we go through and do this typically? We start by figuring out what are our diagnosis questions. What do we need to do? What's the non-diagnosis? Do we want to get some more type of demographic information? The easiest question is the grease the wheels, and then our lead capture piece. That's the order in which we should look at breaking those down. Now, the questions are really designed to go from the welcome over to the results and to get that transaction at the end of the day. Okay, that's what we want them to do. Okay, let's figure out how we do that in a summary. Again, we've got welcome, questions, and results. That's the order the user takes it. We're going to build it out based on our offer. How do we get there? Okay, what do we want them to achieve? We have our hook to get them to take the quiz, and we have our bridge in the middle that will drive them to the answers. So develop it, offer first, hook, and then bridge.
Thank you to the great Des with all of these strategy ideas. I am going to be a little biased to make a plug for the community here, but if you're not already part of our community, come join us, because we have people like Des there who are much smarter than I am and can give you plenty of advice for your forms, as well as plenty of other people that have shared tons of use cases and tons of examples. Now for the fun part. This is where we actually get to build the form. If it seems a little intimidating, thankfully we have lots of templates, which I'll show you. So if you go to our website here and click on templates, you'll find a whole list of templates to get started building your type form. My personal favorite, and the one I would recommend, is this one. If you are building a quiz similar to the one that we just showed you, even if you're like, I might not use all of the stuff on this form, if you're anything like me and you're lazy or just need a little push to get started, the template really helps. I find that I will start with a template, and even if I remove everything, it just gets me in the mindset to build the form. So definitely recommend checking out this template. We also have a new AI feature coming out soon that will help you build the form based on what you're looking to do. So be on the lookout for that. This is what our builder looks like. Even though it's already done here, something I want to mention is that one of the two first things that we did was first go to design and then work on our brand kit here. If you haven't checked out brand kit yet, this is one of our newest features that I really, really love, because especially if you've got specific logos, colors, this is a great way to put all the information safely in one area, so you don't have to be like me and copy and paste the colors all the time. Instead, it's right here for you to apply. Right here, we've got our colors. If we had media or logos, we'd add them there. Alex and Nico, this is a small plug for you to get working on our Squints logo. We also created a theme here, because when you're going to create your type form, all you have to do is go to design and then click on the theme, and it automatically applies all of that here, which is super handy. So I'm going to go through some of the questions we have. We're using a whole variety of questions here. You see we've got multiple choice, picture choice, type of eyewear. We have different questions here based on which one they select here using logic jumps, which I'll show you next. We've also got our contact info form here, which is a new feature as well. We've hidden the phone number, email, company, etc., because we didn't think we needed that here. Instead, we asked their email just here, and then asked the legal question here to make sure we can send them marketing communication. You'll probably remember at the end of the form, there was a page that looked like this that had 2 different options. So this is a multiple choice question. I really recommend giving your respondents the option to figure out how they want to interact with your company, whether that is showing them a service, showing up a price, redirecting them to a different page, adding them to your email list, because if you only give them one route to go, it might seem like a bit too much for someone that might not be ready to buy or isn't quite sure if they want sunglasses, whatever it might be. I really like this selection though, because it gives them the choice to either take them to the product page or checkout. So if they are kind of like, yeah, sunglasses, they can go purchase them, or you can just show them the product page. Now, the way that this is set up is using logic jumps. So if you haven't interacted with our logic jumps before, logic jumps are a way to basically set like if this, then that. So if a respondent answers this, then show them that question. Or, if they answered all of these questions with these answers, then show them this ending. So that way it creates like a really intimate personal experience through that form instead of just like a basic old like set of 20 questions. On question 3, this was that question that asked what type of eyewear do you need? So we showed different eyewears depending on what they selected, setting up that jump here. So if they needed this, they were shown, if they selected sun, they were shown this. Now at the end, this is where this looks scarier than it actually is. It's really not that scary. But here's a legal question. After that legal question is when we showed all the different variations of, do you want the product page or do you want to check out? So for example, here, if they answered that they want a masculine style and they're looking for snow, we sent them to this page, which then they can either click on take me to the product or they can check out right away. Now, the way that this was created is actually a lot easier than it looks like. Once they click on that, they're then taken to either this ending or that ending. We've got multiple different variations of that ending here. On this one, this is the one where they go straight to the shopping cart. So here we have the cart automatically populating for them in Shopify. Again, if you're not using Shopify, or if you have a lead gen page, whatever it might be, landing page, you can still set this up. We can walk you through that. After this webinar, just reach out to us and we can see what you're working with. The other option here is just a simple redirect. That's set up here. So when you're setting up the endings, you have the option here, whether to choose end screen or redirect to URL. So once you've built your form, there's a few things I usually suggest doing. The first thing is going through the questions. So say, for example, let me change this question. Like say my question was originally, what kind of glasses do you want to wear? Faces. So you'll see as you're editing your questions, there's this little purple guy that pops up. And if you click it, this is one of our new AI features that if your question has more than 10 words in it, it will suggest a shorter version based on past data. So here it's suggesting which glasses do you prefer wearing regularly. This should hopefully help you speed up the process of building the form. And once you've gone through, everything looks good, you've added really cute images to show off your product service. The next thing I would really suggest doing is clicking on this little guy down here. If you haven't seen this before, this is also a new feature that we have to check accessibility. So what that means is, especially in this day, you really want to make sure that your form and your website are accessible to everyone. We also want to help you with that too. So what we have here is an accessibility checker that will go through the color, the alternative text, other. You can see here it's saying we have a color issue, that the buttons do not have enough color with the contrast with the background, so we should probably switch those up. But that should hopefully help make sure that everybody can access your form and see the wonderful services you're offering. The next thing you will probably want to do is connect it with some different integrations that we have. So depending where you are in your business, if you've got whether you've got a product or service business, you might want to connect to something like Slack to send a notification. We recently updated this integration so that you could send notifications, fill out the form directly in Slack. Once you've got Slack connected, you'll see here that anytime somebody fills out the form, it sends a notification. This is super helpful if you've got like a sales team, if you've got people that just want to know every time you get a new response, really helpful in that case. Now, once you've notified everybody that a lead has come in, you might actually then want to email that lead. So if you're a newer business, you probably don't have like an email service provider, or you might not have a CRM system or anything of that nature. You're like, I don't know, I just started this company and I need to send them personal emails. We have a new feature if you click on this button here called follow-up. So what that means is anytime somebody fills out your form, you can send a follow-up email to then either recommend new products, services, whatever it might be. So I have a few example ones set up here. For example, in this case, if somebody goes to the ending for men's snow, I could then send them an email. So let's say here, we'll send them an email. Mission, it looks like you like snow glasses. Contact us for more info. Or, obviously this is hopefully not the email you send something better. So you could send them personal recommendations based off those answers, which if you are going to email people, I would definitely recommend obviously using follow-ups and tailoring it to their responses. So that way you get a much better experience for them. But you might be a business that has been in service for a while now. You might already have an email system like MailChimp set up. So we have another integration, which we also recently updated, the MailChimp integration. I will preach until the day I die that you should definitely set up our integration with MailChimp and also tailor it to the answers that people have provided on your form. So one new feature of this updated integration is the ability to edit it, which is extremely helpful in my case here. So let's go take a look at it. When you're setting up the integration, here you'll be able to map different questions with fields. The feature that I think is the most important to note here is tagging responses. Now, the reason I mention this is because in MailChimp, you can then create automations based on those responses. And this isn't necessarily for MailChimp. We do have a HubSpot integration that you can do this for, and a few other CRMs. You can also use Zapier if you use a CRM we don't integrate with. But here I just said add a single tag to all of my responses called Squints. But what I'd really suggest in this case is taking responses to the answers provided. So for example, anyone that's got men's snow could be tagged men's snow or whatever it might be. Now, the reason I really like this is because then in MailChimp, you can set up an automation, like for example, Squints example. So here, once they're tagged with Squints, I'll send them an email. So this is probably one of my favorite parts about this is that, say, for example, they just wanted to search for the product and they didn't actually want to purchase. What you could do here is say, take it with men's snow, send an email, and it would say hey, don't forget your sunglasses, you can go shop them. So it's a great way to follow up with possible customers, clients, whatever, in a nice way that is particular to what actually interested them instead of just email blasting them. So that's one example, but you might be a more fancier business, or you might be in sales longer, or maybe you have a business for example, if you're building websites. If that's the case, you probably have the Salesforce integration. Once you connect this, when you go into Salesforce, you'll be able to find all of the leads and connect them straight to Typeform. So for example, if you need to do a follow-up sequence with them, Salesforce is a great way to go about that in a more personalized manner, especially for you people that are having products or services. Now, the last thing that you'll definitely need to make sure to do is to share it and embed it. Now, embedding sounds pretty scary, but it's actually not that bad. For most of you, you'll probably embed on a web page. When you go to start embedding,
you'll see here that we provide plenty of options to help you with embedding. So like, for example, on our example, we use Shopify, and here it walks you through step by step how to go about embedding your form. But you could embed it on a landing page, you could embed it somewhere else. If you don't see your website or builder here, like if you're using WooCommerce or Magento, let us know and we can help you out with that. So that's a very quick version of going about setting this up. Hopefully this helps, and excited to talk about some new AI features next.
All right, I'm back. Hopefully that was helpful for all of you. I've been trying to answer your questions as quickly as I can. Again, we'll have Q&A after this, and then if we don't get to anything, we'll answer them in the community. Now I'd like to bring in Dan to talk about some fun AI stuff going on. Hi, Dan. Say hi to everyone.
Hey, Liz, and hello everyone in the community. I'm speaking to you from just outside London, where we've got a lovely sunny day, but it's a bit late for me for coffee. Awesome. My role at Typeform is as a product manager, so I work with a team of engineers and designers and researchers to work out what the most important things we can do in the platform is next, to enable all of our fantastic customers. Liz, are we okay to hit next? Awesome. So AI has obviously taken the world by storm, and we're thinking about how that changes the world of forms and interactions online. The first host of things that we're doing in the product are a load of features to make it easier for you to build high-performing forms as quickly as possible. So one example is optimized content, which Liz showed you in that wonderful demo. And here, what we're doing is we are using AI and a model that we have trained to make sure that the form question is written in a way that provides the best possible responses based on a huge amount of data, obviously, that we're processing. So you write your question, and then in a single click, we'll generate a list of options for rewriting that question. Obviously, we can do better with longer text. It's hard to rewrite very short questions, which is why it'll only work for questions over 10 words. And something that's really cool, Ulrika asked this in the Q&A earlier on. Yes, it will work across any language. So not just the two platform languages of English and Spanish, but if you're writing a question in any language, you don't even need to specify. We identify that, and we'll suggest you a better wording straight away. The other cool thing about this is we've been monitoring the impact of this as it's been released, and we find that forms that adopt optimized text have better completion rates, and the uplift in completion rates is significant as well. So it looks like the feature is doing well. And this has been rolled out as of last week, so everyone has it available. So if you go into building a form and you write a question in the block title and it has more than 10 words, you'll see that little purple friend that Liz saw. Super stuff. The next thing, which is something that we're working on at the moment, is how can we do similar things to suggest and help you get writing multiple choice questions faster. So why do we choose multiple choice to work on next? Multiple choice is by far the most popular block after just a short text entry block. 63% of forms have multiple choice, and the reason why is because it's an incredible UX for getting what Des, I think, wonderfully described as those micro commitments to move forward in your form. And so what happens here is you write the question and you then click generate next to your choice, and we then generate a list of options here. And the way that the AI works is pretty fantastic, really, because it's consuming so much information that's already on the web to be able to produce those options. So if you are writing a quiz about the kids' TV show Bluey, and you say, what's your favorite Bluey character? it'll correctly suggest the characters from Bluey. If you say, what's your favorite fictional language, it will suggest that. But more practical things, if you're doing lead qualification, you work in B2B, and you say, what size is your company, it will suggest options which provide breakpoints of company size and employee numbers. So it does a really good job. We also ask it things like, how can we best improve Typeform? And because it's pulling so much written information about Typeform's product, it does a really good job of selecting multiple choice options about the different regions that we could work on Typeform. So this is an exciting functionality. This functionality is going to go into beta test. So if you are randomly selected to A/B test this feature, then congrats. You might see it, but we unfortunately can't shoehorn people into those A/B tests because it breaks the way that we collect that data. So hopefully it works well, and you see it on your form builder very soon.
Like Willy Wonka, golden ticket. Makes me think of that.
Exactly. And then the last area here is the create wizard. Again, how do we get our customers building the most high impact forms as quickly as possible? And this is something that will just do that for you. So you simply describe your form. You can put in if you have any particular fields that need to be in that form, and then you tell us a little bit about your business, and we use that information to create a form within seconds that would otherwise take 10 minutes to make. You might then have to tweak it, but we give you a really good jumping off point. Also, stuff that we're looking at here is if you work for or if you have a website and there's a brand on that website, and it gets sizable traffic, enough traffic, then we'll also be able to pull in that brand from the website and automatically give you a form that's branded based on your site's branding as well. So some really cool features here to help you get off the blocks as quickly as possible. But what I've talked about today is scratching the surface in the way that we're thinking about things. Here I've been talking about time to value features. So how can we help our creators build high performing forms as quickly as possible? The real opportunity for AI is rethinking the way that forms work in a day-to-day basis. And this is a bit of an evolving concept and thought, but if we think about this, the reason why we do things like multiple choice options, the reason why we do things like picture choices or rankings or ratings is because we want to abstract quite complex human emotions down to something that we can easily measure or build logic off to decide how to work next with. AI gives us an awesome capability to process that complex blob of information and pull nuance out of it without having to do abstractions like that. So that's what we're thinking about the future of forms. And if you go to formless.ai, you'll be able to see one thing that we're thinking about in the future. And what we should see is we should see some of those features and functionality start to enter Typeform normally, to think about, how can we start to pull information and insight out of our customers and our respondents in a way that's as powerful for them, but is also super nuanced and informative for us. So it's a really exciting place for us to work.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
That's my pick.
Sure. If Alex wants to come back. Oh, I was like, oh, there he is. So now we have 15-ish minutes for questions. I'm gonna pull them up. Here we go. All right. We're gonna go through some if there are any AI ones first, just so we can let Dan go. All right. There's a few for you, Dan.
Yeah, we've got a cool one here from Rose. Can you see this?
Yeah. Go for it.
Cool. So Rose is saying, does Typeform AI also build out logic? With this is something that we've been playing with a lot recently. And we want this to be the case, right? Because logic is one of those features that is a bit more complex to set up and it takes more time, but one that respondents find super valuable. If we're not asking respondents the questions that they don't need to be asked, it makes for a much better respondent experience. So it doesn't at the moment, but we are playing with it, and at the moment we're waiting for some of the AI providers to release capability that's scaled enough so that we can put it in there, because we've got some prototypes which are awesome. And you know, you build the outline of a pretty complex math quiz, and then you say add logic, and it automatically adds the logic and the scoring and gives you a result at the end of it. So so we're waiting for some advancements there, but yes, we will get there.
You're popular, Dan. There's a few others for you.
Okay, you shoot them to me.
Oh, can we get on the wait list for AI beta?
Okay, Alex, you might have to help me out here because there's a couple of things here. So the first one is formless. So maybe Alex, you can tell us a little bit how we get on the wait list for formless.
Yeah, so if you head to our homepage, and then if you can actually head to Typeform Labs under the products tab, and you can click the Get Early Access button there to be part of our little incubator. So I would suggest that you do that.
And we can chuck that link in the chat as well, so you can head over there. But that'll put you on the beta for Typeform Labs, which includes formless. In terms of the features that Typeform is rolling out, we don't have a beta list at the moment, because we'll be testing them with users on an ongoing basis, and releasing them as soon as they're ready to be released. So no need for beta.
Jeremy said first ever advantage for the long-winded. Helps the AI model. Haha, super exciting. Yeah, I agree. Shortening novel questions. Okay. Okay, that's ChatGPT. Well, unless you happen to know this one.
I can't see the question.
Sorry, I'm reading and talking. I cannot. This is why I had to record the video, because I can't multitask.
Ah, yes. Okay, cool.
Can we use Zapier to connect OpenAI chatbot where we use Typeform to gather information for the prompt to be sent to ChatGPT and then send responses back to our form?
Conroy, this is an awesome question. Yeah. And hopefully we won't need to use Zapier to do that. So we do have some clever things that work at Typeform that are experimenting with building a Typeform plugin for ChatGPT, so that if you're using ChatGPT, you can use the Typeform plugin to query. So we're working on it. We don't know how successful it's going to be. Like OpenAI and ChatGPT are releasing things at an ever quick rate, and some of it is ready to commercialize, some of it's not. So we'll keep you in the loop, but yeah, we're exploring this sort of thing at the moment. I'm not sure if you could use the Zapier connection at the moment. That's maybe something that we'd have to explore, but if you post in the community, then let's try and get some people exploring that sort of thing.
I do know that they have an article on like sending information from Typeform, Zapier, OpenAI. I can try to find it. I have it saved somewhere if that helps, but sending responses back in, I know we cannot do right now. If that helps, that helps. Conroy. Let's see if there's any other AI. If you have any other AI ones, drop them in now. Forever hold your peace. I think that is it for AI questions. Unless I'll give it like a second and see if anyone else drops in AI stuff.
No worries. Thank you so much, and I'll stay around anyway. So if you need me to jump back on, I'm here.
Cool. I'm just gonna go down the list. Earlier, Bobby asked, you asked about, I do not know how to pronounce this. Correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Jornaya for scripts for basically adding express with consent. We don't have this now. In the meantime, you could use that legal question to just make sure people want to get marketing emails, or whatever email it's going to send them. If we do any updates on that, I can let you know. I don't think there's anything in the works at the moment that I'm aware of. Could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. The next one. Okay, this one is a question I helped Tara answer earlier. I'll come back to you. I might answer that one on the community if you're open to it. Dahlia said, will Typeform ever integrate with Proton Mail? That I do not know. I don't know if you know anything, Alex, but
I have not heard anything, but it's something I can ask around about.
cool. Will Video Ask and Typeform be fully integrated? If so, when? I don't know actually if we have any. Oh, okay. I'll let Dan go.
I got into this. I work super closely with the people that lead the Video Ask product, and this is an uphill battle. It's like taking the ring to Mordor, but we will get there. The Video Ask and Typeform will become much closer aligned, and we're looking at ways to seamlessly embed video asks directly in your type forms. So yes, we will get there, and we're committed to it.
Another thing that I will add, though, while they're not fully integrated right now, is that you can actually use your Typeform account to sign up for Video Ask and start using it that way. So if you have a Typeform account, you have a Video Ask account for free. So you can go ahead and get started today on that.
And in fact, you don't even need to sign up. It'll just seamlessly log you in.
Right. And so we're going to actually be pushing a little bit more information about that in the product digest this month. So stay tuned for that.
Good. An anonymous person said, I'm embarrassed because I should know the answer to this, but can you embed a video into Typeform? Don't be embarrassed. I have to look up our Help Center articles all the time. Yes, you can do YouTube and Vimeo at the moment. If you want, I will send over the Help Center article after. Thankfully, it's just popping in a link. It's really easy. So
And Video Ask.
oh yes, and yes, Video Ask. Valerie asked, is there a way to create a quiz that creates sub scores? For example, the overall quiz is 12 questions, but 4 sub scores, 3 questions per. I just actually answered this question. Well, Des answered this question and I shared his answer in the community. I'll share a link to that because he gives a really good walkthrough of how he did it. The short version is he basically is using variables to do it. But that community post will give much more information than I ever can. Does this a master of variables? Will Video Ask and Typeform be integrated with properly matched fields? That's a good one. I do not know that. Maybe
I'm not entirely sure what Connor is asking around properly matched fields, so I might need a bit of a clarification. Yeah.
I won't assume, but Conor, after, if you want, we can, if you want to send over your question in the community, we can answer that for you. Chandler asked, does Typeform support if/then? My issue is needing one form that can branch into 3 different question directions forms based on options selected. This takes me a second. I have to read it again. I'm slow. Yes, basically that would just be logic jumps. So for example, like using one form, if it's different questions, you could say if they answer this, kind of like how we have set up in our form, like if they answer with this question, send them to this. If you want to send them to another question, you could just redirect, or another form, you could redirect them. If you want, we can show an example of this in the community, or we can also, or even in this recording, you can see a little bit of that too. So Jonathan says, thanks. You're welcome. Conroy asks, I have a product that uses both Video Ask and Typeform, and I'm having some issues. Where can I get help with this? You can ask us in the community. If you want us to like actually log into your accounts, our support team is really helpful for this. If you go to help.typeform.com, you can find the support link directly there, so you can contact support. Depending on your plan level, you may also have chat, which is a little bit faster, but regardless, either way, community, help center, support, whatever floats your boat there. Mateo asked, does Typeform have a free trial to test these features? We do have a free plan. You can try out the features there. I was going somewhere with that. I lost my train of thought. We have a free plan. Yes. So yes, you can try them. Conroy, great, will do. Thank you. You're welcome. Jason said, can you send the video recording, please? Yes, we will have it in the community. We'll also send an email, and then we'll also have some like next steps to help you out. I'm going to go through the chat, see if there's any other questions in here. We have like 3-ish minutes left. So if you have anything else, speak now.
There was one, I'm sorry to cut you off, Liz. There was one about Active Campaign, and yes, we do integrate with Active Campaign. If you just mouse over again on our homepage integrations, you'll see it featured right there, so you can check it out.
I almost finished typing out that link before the video is done. I can send that as well, but if it helps, the Active Campaign integration is within Active Campaign. So if you go in Active Campaign and go to their integrations, you can integrate right there. Nina says, this has been fantastic. It's super informative. So happy, so excited to share. I cannot read. I am so excited to experience these upcoming features. Choose me. This is for you, Dan. Hashtag choose me for the beta. I like it. Dahlia, do you have any other live tutorials or recorded ones? Or I guess here's a question for you, Dahlia. Do you want something similar to this, or what are you looking for recordings on? We have plenty, but let us know what you're looking for, and we can either send what we already have, or we can create something for you too. Rose earlier asked, do you have plans to expand the video insert feature beyond YouTube, upload videos from our phone or other social media platforms? We do have Vimeo right now in there. I don't know, actually, I don't know if you know, Dan, if we have any other plans for integrating. For other
At the moment, YouTube, Vimeo, and Video Ask. I haven't seen any at the moment, but would be super interested if you start a thread about this on the community. We'd be really interested to understand which other video upload platforms you're looking for most though. Especially as the world is evolving and we're trying to appeal to different crowds of people that use different platforms. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, that makes sense. Brandon asked, where is the community? I'll drop it right now in the chat. I cannot type at the same time. I'm popping our, there we go. That's the link for community right there. Dan, do you have a question?
I don't have a question, but Dolly did ask a question. I was just being polite. Dolly asked a question. Can you customize the follow-up email with a banner? Also, can the email be sent from a custom email address, or will it always come from Typeform? Is this a workaround using MailChimp? So that first one, can you customize the follow-up email with a banner? When you're looking at the follow-up email editor, you can actually put HTML and CSS in there, and it will process in the way that you would expect an HTML or CSS email to process. So do reach out to any developer teams that you've got to develop that functionality. Just beware here that you will need someone to help you craft that email if you've never built an HTML email before. And this is because email deliverability is a big thing, and it's complex. So, but the cool thing is with follow-ups, you can use HTML and CSS to have whatever sort of beautiful email you want sent, and you can include all of the variables that you have access to through your Typeform in order to personalize that email as well. The second question, can the email be sent from a custom email address, or will it always come from Typeform? At the moment, it will always come from Typeform, but in the future, we're looking at more closely pulling integrations into follow-ups. So at the moment, follow-up actions are either send an email to the respondent or send an email to your team. But in the future, we hope that those actions would be to use the different integrations that you have available through Typeform, and so you will start to be able to use MailChimp for that sort of thing, or any other mail provider. And we'll also monitor how much demand there is for a custom email address, and if it's overwhelming, then we'll start to think about that. But it's a complex area, but we appreciate the value.
Cool. Just to be respectful of everyone's time, I know we still have a few questions left. We'll answer them after this in the community, so we will get to you, don't worry. But just some next steps after this. We do have a feedback survey. Please let us know what you think. Let me know how bad my jokes are. We'll also send out the recording and resources after. So if you want to rewatch this or check out the template that we have, we'll send that to you. You can also dive deeper into new features. We'll also send that link in case you want to explore more. And then finally, please share your solutions with us in the community, ask more questions there, or if you are building this kind of form and need help, just let us know. We'll be happy to help. And thank you all. It was wonderful hanging out with you. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for putting up with me. And hope to see you all in the community and online soon. Thanks, everyone.